If you have a high-performance car, you really want that car to perform well and to last a long time. So should you buy a product like Redline, which is known for being a high-performance engine oil, or should you just buy something like SuperTech? Well, today we're going to compare Redline against SuperTech, run these head-to-head through several tests to see how each one of them performs. So let's get the testing underway. Well, I don't have an oil testing lab that allows me to test products using ASTM, SAE, or API testing standards. There are some oil properties that can be easily tested to compare oil performance. In the first test, we'll measure cold temperature oil flow. When the engine is cold, we want the oil flowing as soon as the engine is started. So let's place the oil in the freezer that's set to 15 below 0 Fahrenheit and leave it in there for 24 hours. We'll come back to this test later in the video. In the previous video comparing synthetic oils from Amazon Basics and Mobile One, I explained the American Petroleum Institute donut along with the two important pieces of information, including the viscosity grade and the 2-digit code. The SuperTech and the Redline oils that we'll be testing are both SAE 5W30 synthetic oils. Costing $11.95 per quart, the Redline full synthetic oil uses the highest quality ester formula base stocks and higher levels of ZDDP anti-wear additives. It also offers superior high temp stability and provides a high natural viscosity index, which promotes thicker oil films in bearings and cams, while high detergency and dispersants promote cleanliness and longer drain intervals. The Redline oil is rated as API-SN. It meets ILSAC, GF5, and GM Dexos 1 specs. I provided more information about these specs in the AMS Oil and Royal Purple Showdown video. In the first test, we'll be using this Lubricity Tester. While it's not possible for me to simulate engine operating conditions perfectly, the Lubricity Tester will give us some good information. If you're not familiar with it, consider watching the video I put together explaining how it works. Before testing each oil on the Lubricity Tester, I'll calibrate the weight scale and then weigh each bearing. After the test, I'll clean the bearing with brake parts cleaner and weigh the bearings again. I'll measure the size of the scar in each bearing as well. So why pay nearly $12 a quart when you can buy a full synthetic oil like SuperTech for less than half the cost? It sells for $5.68 per quart, or you can buy 5 quarts for $17.47, which is a great price for a full synthetic engine oil. But the question remains, can you trust it? From my research, Warren Distribution handles the 5W30 motor oil from SuperTech. Warren Distribution has been around since 1922, which says a lot about the company. Just like the Redline oil, SuperTech also meets the ILSAC GF5 and GM Dexos 1 specs. Unlike the Redline, the SuperTech is also rated as SN+, which indicates that the oil helps protect pistons from low-speed pre-ignition. The Redline is on the left and the SuperTech is on the right. Both brands actually did rather well on this test. Clearly the Redline won this competition, but the SuperTech still did a terrific job. Up next, Redline and Walmart SuperTech will go head-to-head in the cold oil flow test. We'll be weighing each coffee pot before the test, then adding approximately 200 grams of oil into each container. After the test, we'll weigh each container to determine the amount of oil loss. So if you want to protect your engine and keep it running smoothly, you don't want an oil that's going to evaporate quickly. The appropriate test to measure evaporative loss is known as the NOAC volatility test, which exposes oil to 482 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour to simulate conditions in the area around the top of piston rings of engines. Oil vaporization is bad. The more oil vaporizes, the thicker and heavier it becomes, contributing to poor oil circulation, reduced fuel economy, and increased oil consumption, wear, and emissions. Since I don't have this specialized piece of test equipment, I'm only going to heat up the oil to around 375 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. I'll be rotating the oil containers every 5 minutes just in case there are hot spots on the griddle. Okay, it's been right at 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the coffee pots from the griddle and allow them to cool. Once they've cooled, we'll weigh them again to see just how much evaporative loss occurred. Both containers have had a chance to cool, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh each of the containers now. The red line weighs 404.62. 414.5. Now we're going to go ahead and place the oil that's been exposed to heat back into the freezer for 24 hours, and we'll compare the oil flow of cooked oil against new oil. It's been right at 24 hours since the oil was placed in the freezer, so let's go ahead and get the test underway and see how the oil that's been exposed to heat performs against new oil. The new SuperTech is in the left lane, the new red line is second lane from the left, cooked SuperTech is in the third lane, and cooked red line is in the right lane. Just like the first test, the SuperTech finished ahead of the red line. I have to say I'm really impressed with the cold temperature flow of the cooked oil for both brands. Exposure to heat didn't seem to hurt either brand, with both cooked oils flowing very close to the same speed as new oil. In the previous video, when I compared Amazon Basics with Mobil 1, a lot of viewers mentioned that SuperTech and Amazon Basics are both from Warren Distribution, and many mentioned that the oils are exactly the same. So I did reach out to Warren Distribution and asked them if the oils were the same, and one of their oil formulation chemists replied and said that he could not discuss the motor oil formulas. He did say that both products exceed auto manufacturers' recommendations for the requested type of oil. So I guess we'll have to test Amazon Basics head-to-head against SuperTech to see if they are indeed the same product. The playoff category winners include AMS Oil and Redline. They'll advance to the Elite 8 competition next. This is going to be very interesting. So I've never used either one of these brands before, and I have to admit I'm really impressed with both brands. Actually, I'm really surprised at how well SuperTech did against Redline. Now with that said, SuperTech didn't quite beat Redline. Redline actually won 2 of the 3 events. Redline had a little bit better film strength and showed a little bit less evaporative loss. However, SuperTech did very well with the cold oil flow test. So in the end, I would trust either one of these brands in my vehicles because both of them seem to be very good engine oils. Now all my videos come from viewers, so if you have a video idea, I'd really like to hear about it so I can put together a video on it in the future. As usual, just want to say thanks so much for watching the video. Please take care, and I look forward to next time.